Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
So next up, we've got our local university, UW, and they're going to be talking to you about Vive, the smart band that keeps young people safe on their nights out.
Okay, great. Thanks for staying with us, everybody. We're almost at the end. We're students from the University of Washington, and we're so pleased to introduce you to Vive, the smart band that uses sensor technology to keep young people safe while they're out partying. Sexual assault is a really big problem. In America, every 2 minutes, there's a new victim. 80% of these victims are under the age of 30, and disturbingly, 1 in 5 female undergraduate students has experienced attempted or actual sexual assault since entering college. Our research shows us that this is a really complicated problem space. Many factors can contribute to sexual assault for both perpetrators and victims. These include, amongst many others, psychological issues, childhood trauma or abuse, and gender stereotypes. Substance abuse also plays a role. We spoke with a representative of the sexual assault activists at the University of Washington, and she highlighted to us the close relationship specifically of alcohol with sexual assault. So we dug deeper here. And it turns out 4 to 5 college students drink. Many of them binge drink. This behavior determined our target audience and our design direction. We saw an opportunity for technology to intervene with college-age drinkers who go out and party. Now, there's a cultural phenomenon amongst this age group of YOLO, or you only live once, where safety might be perceived as a buzzkill. So our aim here was to intervene in high-risk, alcohol-fueled social situations to reduce the occurrence of sexual assault and keep young people safe without killing their fun.
And now we're very aware of how difficult this is, so our challenge became designing a Trojan horse where the safe was inserted into the young people's scene without feeling overbearing. And so we present to you Vive. Vive is a smart wristband with integrated sensors that monitors users' biometrics related to alcohol consumption and keep them synced up to their designated party groups so their friends are alerted if things start to get out of control. Interactions with Vive are simple. You put it on, touch it to your phone, and a vibration lets you know you've synced with your Facebook profile. Joining your band to your friends' bands creates your party group. You're synced with them for the rest of the night. The band senses your alcohol consumption and dehydration level, which has a relation to alcohol consumption. Once Vive senses your drinking, it starts to check in with vibrations that remind you to be aware of yourself and your surroundings. A squeeze tells Vive you're fine. If you don't dismiss a check-in or your band is removed without your authorization, your friends will be alerted. You can also manually alert your friends at any time with an extended squeeze and hold. We talked about a Trojan horse of safety that doesn't kill the fun. Vive is about connections, not only connecting you to your party group, but also meeting new people as well. Physically touching your band to another band sends friend requests to each other, upping the fun factor. Now that you're familiar with Vive, we'd like to show you how it has the potential to intervene in the party scene and keep young people safe.
Today, it's Alex's birthday. To celebrate, Jordan and Kate surprise Alex with a night out to see their favorite DJ, Rosie the Rhythmer. They've heard the club tickets with Vive, the smart band that keeps friends connected and ups the fun factor. At the venue, the girls exchange their tickets for Vives to gain entry. They quickly link the bands to their Facebook profiles, sync up with each other to form their party group, and head into the crowd. But it's no fun to watch DJ Rosie without a drink or two. As the night goes on, the girls' Vives monitor their alcohol and dehydration levels. The band vibrates at intervals, prompting them to self-check their surroundings and their mental and physical state. A simple squeeze of the band indicates they're having fun and are in control. The girls use Vive to connect with people they meet throughout the night.
Into the building.
But what happens when you're not in control? Vive has been monitoring Alex's drunkenness, and when she fails to dismiss its latest check-in, Vive alerts her party group. Looking around, they spot Alex and quickly remove her from the high-risk situation. As the guy's Vive checks in, he realizes that perhaps he's had too much to drink. Vive has intervened and kept both parties out of a bad situation. The girls and Alex return to celebrating her birthday. They're having so much fun, Alex jumps on stage to connect with Rosie herself. Over a 2 a.m. burger to cure their drunk munchies, the girls review all the hot and not so hot people they connected with at the show. They head home after a fun and safe birthday celebration, thanks to Vive.
So now, as you saw in the video, Vive leverages some already existing social technological networks. When you go out with a group of friends, you're looking out for each other, and Vive simply enhances this social contract. Now, each person's body processes alcohol differently, and because of this, Vive has multiple sensor safeguards in place. The first of which is a transdermal alcohol sensor. This measures ethanol levels that are excreted through your skin. Another sensor monitors your dehydration. If either your dehydration or alcohol levels are at dangerous levels, then your party group is automatically alerted. Another set of sensors are a gyroscope and accelerometer. This is used to sense a total lack of motion if, for example, a user is passed out. For connectivity, Bluetooth 4.0 connects the bands to other bands and bands to the phone. From the phone, we get GPS and Wi-Fi triangulation to provide locations of friends in need. And this is only activated if an alert goes off.
There's a larger picture of sexual assault, and we want to make it clear we're not naive about this, and we're not claiming that Vive can prevent all sexual assaults. Alcohol does play a role here, however, and once an individual has been severed from the safety of her or his social network and they encounter a predator, there's sadly very little that can be done to help. So with Vive, we're intervening at that point of increased vulnerability with regular check-ins. For initial market entry, we envision Vive replacing wristbands at ticketed events like raves and concerts. Just like 3D glasses, the bands can be returned to venues at the end of the night, wiped, charged, and reused to keep costs down. Eventually, we see Vive having the potential to become autonomous, a ubiquitous party accessory you don't leave home without, just like your ID. And finally, in terms of feasibility, what we propose is possible today. At the moment, Vive is a concept, but conversation with an expert at the University of Washington tells us integrating sensors into the band now wouldn't make it overly bulky. And with the miniaturization of technology, we envision Vive having the potential to be a sleek, attractive, and powerful tool in the near future. Thank you so much for your time.
I couldn't believe Liz didn't get up and dance.
I'm going to get up and dance. That was amazing. That blows away every policy my dean or president has ever come up with for drinking. I think you nailed it in terms of getting that it had to be fun.
Yeah.
And people want to do it. I loved your language around tapping people at the moments of vulnerability. I thought that was brilliant and beautiful. I love your careful construction of how this is actually going to play out, that this replaces the wristband. It did make me, because you're so good, I'm going to push you on this. It did make me ask the question of, many bad things happen after you leave the bar. So once you return the band, what happens?
So our premise with this concept is really that we're trying to, even just with a visible wristband, create some extra level of awareness. You know, my friends are looking out for me, and I'm being watched, and making people more aware of their decisions as they progress through the night. And so our space is this initial social scene, and we're not trying to solve all sexual assault. And so, of course, once the band is off, you know, other mechanisms already in play need to come in. But we feel that, again, with that extra level of awareness, we hope that some of those end scenes are already prevented somewhere along the way before it gets to a nasty situation.
Just quickly, it's a marker of success if somebody says, why can't this be everywhere? That's effectively what I'm asking with that question.
Thank you.
But that have a really loud voice, so it's not a problem. So the other part too is that it's the idea of like a neighborhood watch where you start seeing all those signs that come up. You know, there's research that has been done into it that it does lower activity there just because you don't know if the people are actually watching or if there is something in place. So something like that was what we were kind of thinking about with it.
So first of all, wonderful job. Again, just haven't spent too much time around filmmaking. That film could be a feature film quality. The editing, the shooting, the scripting, the acting. Was that method acting, or did you have a really high bar bill?
They were pretty sloshy during it, but yeah, those were all my roommates. So
yeah. So no, but it was to the point. And what I want to just back off and generally think about. This is why the design. Why I love doing this, because so I'm going to generalize over all things. The standard of video and presentations has been outstanding, and yet notice the difference in the visual language of the films. Each one had its own language, which is appropriate for the thing. And I think that says that not only do you have great technique, but you have great choice of choosing which language and vocabulary to use for this particular project. And that's again comes back to what's the appropriate representation for the message you're trying to communicate, and you absolutely got that right. Now the other part I just want to say is that there's this other generalization, and that actually why design is always about multiples. It's not about single things. And the unfortunate thing is you don't get to talk about you don't get to show your prototypes and where you didn't go, but you went down. But luckily, we get that because of the juxtaposition of the other presentations. So you can take back to the daycare, the children's thing earlier, there's the same wristband. Well, guess what? When you're out and leave the bar, you still got it because you had it since kindergarten. Right? But what's even fascinating is that you had much of the same language in terms of it has to be fun. It's not about putting a criminal's bracelet so you can track them for a house confinement. It's got to be fun and do that. And exactly the same questions, exactly the same approach, but you had a very different rendering, if you will, in terms of what the nature of the fun was or that. But also, it wasn't just about there's similarities there in the technology. But what's fascinating is the underlying social network on which it's based was different. With the kids, it's a star fanning out from the teacher out of arcs going out from a central hub, if you will. Whereas in yours, it's an ad hoc network amongst a self-organizing social network. And the things can evolve. And you can imagine now going to the third one for aged people that were for health monitors and so on. But you can actually see that from this kind of concept, they all look physically similar. But by actually doing these probes of these types of exercises, you can do it at a level of a class project. You can start to get the larger picture and actually step back, go meta, and figure out what are the consistent issues that go across the whole thing, and which are the ones that let you tailor it for the specific instances. But that really helps you start to think about the space. And so individually did great. And actually, this is just for and Lillian gang for putting this together. Lets us all get insights from that. And it's really, really interesting. You can't just do one thing.
I'll echo everything they've said, but I want to touch on one thing. I want to touch on the moment when you got me. And it's a moment that every researcher in this building, in this campus, needs to hear about. It's the moment when you pointed out that the reason this works is because of intentionality. This is not just yet another accelerometer band tracker. There's zillions of those. The reason I would invest in this and not all of those is because of this. Because it relies on me, a human being, to make a gesture, and that gesture says to my friends, I'm okay. You allowed the human being to be part of the system, and that is brilliant. And that is not the Internet of Things. That is good. That is good design. Keep doing good design. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hard to top that. But are there any other questions from the audience? Comments? All right.
Max, you have something to say? Yes.
I just want to say, first off, I love the presentation. Thanks. I really love the presentation, but I think you guys have another selling point here that you guys didn't even touch upon, because it's really great that, you know, the friends are constantly checking in and you have the person being able to check in as well, but the person, just by wearing the wristband, is marked. There is an entire team of people watching that person, and they are immediately safer because of it, and I think that would only add to the amazing product you have going here. And I guess that's all I have.
Thank you.
I just want to point one thing out. That was the journey here. I mean, they really started with using mobile devices to increase, the quality of sex life, and that's what the first brief was. And then it was really interesting how this whole thing shifted to, safety, and in the end, higher quality meeting people, which is the essence of, being alive in a sense. So, awesome. Congrats.
And that was Axel Rhodes, the professor that worked with this team.
Axel Rhodes.
So thank you all again. That was awesome.
Thank you.